It is time for the grand finals here of the Hearthstone Masters Tour stop in Seoul, South Korea. After 3 days of play, 12 rounds of Swiss, a dual tournament, and a top 4 bracket, only 2 French players remain, both playing a Highlander Reno Mage featuring cards from the newest expansion, Saviors of Old Doom. Hope everyone's been enjoying the broadcast. Welcome from the caster's desk. My name is Felkeine. I'm joined by Brian Kibler, and once more, we have the pleasure of opening and closing an epic weekend of epic Hearthstone action.
Yeah, this has been a really amazing time here in Seoul, and we've had a ton of great players and a ton of great plays throughout the weekend, but it is just these 2 who remain to play a best of 5 for all the glory.
That's right, and after lots of games, we've had thousands of series to draw upon many conclusions. Only one class has stood atop the others, as many people have preemptively crowned Mage as the deck going into this weekend, and it was reflected by the popularity. We had over 250 competitors representing over 50 countries, and more than half the field, Kibler, brought Mage. And yet, when we went to the top 8, 5 classes were in it. Mage looked really weak. What do you think was the result of getting into this top 8 here, into the finals?
I mean, a great deal of it I do think has to do with just these players' preparation. These 2, I think, really have stood out above the others in terms of their play. I do think that Felkeine and Zhym, who are walking to the stage right now to take their seats, and you see doing a little dance, you know, having a good time, not taking things too seriously. These are 2 friends, and I believe practice partners. Their decks are identical, card for card, down to their secondary and tertiary decks.
Yep, the French community are tight-knit, and they practice and support each other a lot, both emotionally, for better or for worse, right? No matter what the result, they're kind of there for their fellow countrymen. And so we'll see whether or not Helios, Zhym, or we're going to be able to see Solari take this victory. And whether or not the players get the edge is really largely determined by what they're going to be choosing to do. Is there any mind games that goes to the secondary and tertiary deck? And you can see a lot of camaraderie with the hug back and forth for both of these players.
Yeah, I think that either of these players be happy for either of them to win. I think there's a lot of French fans out there who are really happy to see their country represented so well. 4 French players in this top 8, not just the 2 finalists, right? There were 2 more who made it through the top 8 with an absolutely dominant performance.
That's right, and then we had a 5th European in Dead Draw that was joining them. 2 players from Asia Pacific. We had Staz, a Grandmaster, the lone Grandmaster in top 8. And then we also had Liz from China rounding out our 8 players. No players from Americas, and I think that's perhaps a fact that NA maybe didn't show up, maybe travel excuses. A lot of them actually didn't even come, despite having the invite, because they said that there was travel complications. I know some of them felt sick, like Zalay has recently injured his back, couldn't make it out. Hearts go out to everyone who couldn't make it, but they missed out. I think Korea was an epic time, and I think we're about to have a legendary finish.
Yeah, I think that this is a fantastic final, both in terms of just the players involved, as well as coming into the top 8, there was sort of the story of, well, is Mage really the deck, right? You looked at the stats. Coming into the top 8 after the Swiss rounds, Mage only had a 50% win rate across the board. It was almost exactly 50%, I believe.
It was actually below it. It was 49. So
okay.
Very close.
Fine. But it was not really performing up to the hype. And there are all these decks that were built to kill the Mages, but they kind of got taken out in the rest of the top 8, right? There was the double elimination bracket. We saw the Warriors beat up on the Priest. We saw the Warriors beat up on the Rogue. And then it was the Mages who came out on top.
All right, a little shout out, of course, to Blizzard Entertainment showing up, Jay Allen Brack, as we do have other special guests in attendance. Many players even supporting. You can see Tars, a fellow player from Solari, supporting Felkeine, as well as many of the international players on the balcony above.
You actually see I believe there's donuts that were provided by Blizzard for Jay Allen Brack to just hand out to the audience here.
Bought donuts for the entire stadium.
Yeah.
Why didn't I sit in the audience? Hey, Derek, you want to cast the finals?
If you watch, you get packs. If you watch here, you get donuts.
Yeah, and if you cast, you get nothing.
Yeah. What are we doing up here? All I get is a water bottle. Come on.
We get paid the same as everyone else here. All right, well, as you mentioned, Mage definitely came in with a lot of high expectations, 49% win rate, but largely because their matchups against the decks that were slanted against them were so poor. They were abysmal. 33% win rate against Priest this weekend, and they played over 200 games of them against Priest. So you look at Priest win rate, you say, wow, Priest had a 60% win rate this weekend. That's because their plus differential was 100 games, and 85 of them came from Mage. So that's why the Priest win rate is insane, and that's why people say in Specialist you can't get too comfortable just assuming you can bring the best deck.
Yeah, and I mean, if we look at a little bit outside the top 8, we look at 9th place and I believe 10th place were also both Priest decks. So if things broke a little bit differently, we might have had 3 Priests in the top 8. We might have had, these Mage decks, rather than taking down the Warriors, really struggling.
Yeah. But that's not going to be really the case here when we go into a Mage versus Mage. A lot of people are looking at things like Luna's Pocket Galaxy as a big influential factor. The legendary card that got buffed from Rise of the Mex event, which got reduced from a 7 to 5 cost mana slot. However, Gibbler, what other do you think factors into how the series will play out?
I think that there's a lot of, obviously, the Pocket Galaxy, pretty key card. Zephyrus could be a really big deal, too. These decks can be really volatile depending on the specific cards that do come up, obviously Pocket Galaxy being the biggest one. But there's a lot of play to the matchup otherwise. You have tons of opportunities to get advantages on the board and try and use your removal, use your freezes very efficiently. It's a really big deal how you choose to navigate and use all those resources.
That's right. How aggressive versus how conservative are these players going to go in this matchup is going to make a world of difference. And as we get ready for the grand finale, we will be crowning a champion here in the Hearthstone Master Tour in Seoul, as well as potentially guaranteeing a spot in Grandmasters. There's a lot on the line, and while they enter as friends, they will leave as rivals, as there can be only one that'll grab the championship. Taking a look at Felkeine's history here, he ends the Swiss with a 10-2 record, but most importantly, the thing that stands out to me is Felkeine's played some of the most Mage Mirrors in this tournament, and he's won almost 75% of them. That's a huge statistics, and the fact that he's able to get an edge somehow, because if it was a true coin flip, it'd be 50-50.
Right, absolutely, and you see, that there's obviously some amount of good fortune can play into that, but there's got to be something he's doing right, because, it's not like the same person just getting lucky all the time. He is making the right decisions. He has the deck constructed correctly for the matchup. I was actually listening to some of the Grandmasters in the audience talk about how you want to approach this. They were actually suggesting that you may want to actually use some of your secondary and tertiary decks for this matchup, even though they're not necessarily just looking like they're aimed directly at it.
Right, yeah. People are saying, are you going to switch your second and tertiary deck, which might be the factor. Maybe Zhym has an idea, because he doesn't have as many Mage games under his belt this tournament. In fact, part of Zhym's success is that he's winning the unfavorable matchup. So he's the underdog, overcoming the obstacles in front of him, highlighted, of course, by his series against Unid in this top 8. And he might need to do it because Felkeine looks really unstoppable in the Mage Mirror, and we're about to find out in game number 1 who's going to be able to take that early game advantage in this best-of-5 series. So I'm ready, Brian Kibber. Let's play some Hearthstone.
All right, well, Mage versus Mage, France versus France, Felkeine versus Zhym. Game number 1 underway.
And right off the bat, Felkeine with a full mulligan, Zhym with a full mulligan, no Pocket Galaxies on either side. I'm totally okay with that. I do like some big fireworks action, non-stop one-mana tempo drops, but I also like some good old-fashioned getting some incremental advantages in Hearthstone the way it was originally played.
Yeah, there are some big swing cards already in the hands, though. Reno the Relicologist, available for Felkeine. Ooh, Zephyrus. Zephyrus is such an interesting card because, yes, you can play it here, find yourself a Wild Growth, ramp up, and you get the coin to get another burst of mana later on.
In this position, we've seen many players favor the Wild Growth because there's nothing on the board, therefore you get an opportunity to ramp your mana crystals. Oh, this is already a difference in opinion.
Yeah, the Wild Growth is something that we've almost seen universally chosen by players in this sort of situation. But
right.
Zhym's going with the Animal Companion, and he wants to get the pressure on.
Yes, and this could be the nod to the fact that Zhym's hand isn't exactly something you really want to ramp into.
What are you doing, right? It's not like you're casting Wild Growth and getting a Luna's Pocket Galaxy, right? You're going to Wild Growth into a Ziliax.
Yes.
Much less exciting.
Yeah. And Felkeine, now instead of playing his own Zephyrus, because he would have the time to, given that his opponent would play Wild Growth and he'd be able to play it right back, he's going to respond by playing Tempo. And this is already a pretty big decision tree that we're going down that's made a big difference compared to if Zhym took it slower.
Right.
And decided to go for the animal companion instead of wild growth, and I think it's paying off in spades.
Yeah.
I love this decision from Zhym so far.
Yeah, and here he's deciding, okay, I got to get rid of this this Twilight Drake, in large part because the threat of Conjure's Calling just on a 4-drop is really big for the swing in the mid game. You know, a lot of players think of Conjure's Calling as, oh, you use it on your Giants, right? You get a bunch of big things. But in this sort of matchup, it's crucial to be able to just control the mid game.
Yeah, Eviscerate is often a choice given to do some cheap removal. There's also a possibility that sometimes it offers you like Shadow Bolt or something. But generally, kill that minion that's on the board. Don't take too much damage. Ooh, Mountain Giant on 5.
Oh, but it goes directly into turn 6, which is the possibility of Reno the Relicologist.
Right.
And with the Conjure's Calling in hand, Zhym could wait.
Yes.
Ooh, but
I think he's committed to this, right? He said, I'm not going to spend my turn ramping. I'm trying to keep the pressure up. That's why he skipped Wild Growth. That's why he's playing this Mountain Giant. He's committing to his decision. And you know what? Who doesn't love a man that can commit, Brian Kibler, in this modern age?
All right, well, Reno is committing to clearing this board this turn. Zephyr is going to come in for a bit of damage, so tempo is the name of the game. Felkeine with
oh, boy.
Right back at you.
One good Reno deserves another.
We're all going to have some fun.
Oh, yeah. I want off this ride, Mr. Reno. All right, so now that we've had a little bit of back and forth here, a little bit of resolution to that climax, that mid-game climax. Felkeine does have the card 2 Defender, a new card from Savers of Voldoom that has Death Rattle and Reborn, and restores 3 health every single time it dies.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a great spot for it. You know, it would just get eaten by the Reno ping down in the second half. So he's just going to go ahead and fire off the Frostbolt ping here.
Okay. Yep, this is a very reasonable answer.
Yeah, Conjure's Calling here, though, does give Zhym a bit of a board.
Soul Warden and Oblivitron. Oblivitron actually would pull out Ziliax.
It does, yeah.
Oblivitron's a Death Rattle that will summon a mech from your hand, and if it has a Death Rattle, trigger it.
Magnetic Ziliax if he really wants to now. And
Oh,
attack
that's even cooler. I like that. I mean, Zim's like, I can do this, but is it good?
Right. Does this do actually anything useful? It gets his minion. Oh, this is actually even cooler. He's gonna Conjure's Calling, get the Ziliax in play, clear off. No reason to use the magnetic ability on it. Builds a big board, and now he has 3 minions that live through Flame Strike.
Yes, the 6-mana stats, as we see through Power of Creation, have a lot of power to it, but Felkeine goes for the Magic Trick, sees Conjure's Calling, Ancient Mission, Icicles, and it looks like all that tempo that Zhym was playing for, going second, by the way, is going to pay off currently, as he's been able to squeeze in at least 11 damage this turn.
And he's got the damage coming in, and he has that Calicos in hand, which can represent significant game-ending burst damage when he does get to 10 mana.
Good stuff from Zhym. And Felkeine feeling the pressure, to say the least. Usually when you go first, you have an advantage in these mid-range matchups. And Zhym didn't even use the coin, the one thing that's supposed to compensate for your lack of mana.
You coin Caligos next turn. Doesn't work, but he could do it. Cartoot Defender comes down, trying to keep him alive.
Oh, boy.
Antonitis, and he still has that coin.
And he has Frost Nova. Get 2 fireballs and all but lock this game out.
Yeah.
I don't think Felkeine could do anything here.
Yeah, he could Alex Strauss hit his own face, but that's really not going to cut it.
Felkeine picked up a Stiff Snap. I think we're going to try to see if there's anything that can happen. Perhaps a miracle if this Conjure's Calling. But I don't think that's going to be the case.
Try it again.
Once more time.
Once more. Gets a taunt, but that's not going to cut it. And yeah, Zhym takes a quick lead in this mirror match in the grand final.
Yes, well done by Zhym. Again, I think that Zephyrus into the Animal Companion has opened my eyes to understanding that this matchup, as we said, is a fight for the board. But if you don't get that early game Pocket Galaxy, what's the most important thing? Fighting for tempo and pushing the issue, because if he gave Felkeine time, Felkeine may have been able to draw into those big combos because he had Conjure's Calling and he had development of his own.
Yeah, I mean, when we think about the decks that people are playing to beat Mage, they're the aggro decks, right? They're the decks that are looking to push damage early and often. because the Mage deck, one of its weaknesses is that it doesn't have great survivability, right? It only has Ziliax and Cartoon Defender, and sometimes Alex Strauss in Gains of Life, right? So if you're able to get that pressure on and keep them from being able to use their sort of mid-game tools to develop and gain their own board, you can just keep them on the back foot all game.
That's right. So, you know, I think Zhym's teaching all of us around the world that if you want to win this mirror, try to be as aggressive as possible. Yes, he got punished with the Mountain Giant, and yes, he also got fortunate with another Reno draw right after. But, I mean, that's kind of, I feel like, the game rewarding him for sticking to that plan, and it paid off in spades with a Game 1 victory. Now, game number 2. The question becomes, in Specialist, you have a secondary deck and a tertiary deck, both which can differentiate from your primary deck by 5 cards. Will they switch?
Ooh, well, there's Luna's Pocket Galaxy for Felkeine right here.
Yes, that is a way for Felkeine to strike back. Felkeine, of course, a mainstay in competitive Hearthstone for years, making multiple appearances at playoffs, doing pretty decently, not amazing in Vegas.
There's Zephyrus.
Okay, so is this the same thing where Zhym's going to pick the Animal Companion? Because when you play Zephyrus on 2, you're offered the same 3 options every single time on a clear board.
Yes.
The exception is if your opponent has a board, they might give you backstab sometimes.
Right. So Zephyrus will offer Brightwing, Animal Companion, and Wild Growth. This time there is a Stargazer Luna in Zhym's hand. Does that mean he wants ramp, or does he just want to go aggro here? I love how expressive Felkeine is. We see, you know, a little bit, really roll the eyes there. Zephyrus again, okay. He's taking Wild Growth this time.
Okay, so what do you think differentiates this game from the previous game with the Wild Growth versus the Animal Companion?
The fact that he's going first makes the mana advantage he gains from Wild Growth perhaps stronger, or the fact that he has Stargazer Luna in his hand means that ramping up to be able to use Luna in order to get additional card draw is more appealing?
It's true. I mean, part of the detriment of Wild Growth is that you lose a card in terms of being able to use value. You know, it's an investment into future mana, but sometimes you don't have enough card draw. We've seen Drew struggle with that a lot in the past.
There's also, I think, the you know, how your opponent uses their hero power. If you play Zephyrus into their 2-mana turn, they're going to ping your Zephyrus. Whereas if you're playing Zephyrus into their 3-mana turn, it's more awkward in terms of their mana usage to kill off your Zephyrus. So the threat of the Animal Companion is magnified.
That's fair. As opposed to ping and play a 2-mana play on turn 4. Okay, I can see that. Zhym plays the Scoundrel. This is the new card from Savers of the Old Doom, which lets you discover 3 cards of a class plus a mystery choice if you don't like any of them. Mystery choice, of course, is some of the most fun that you can have, but is it very consistent? Probably not. And Ray of Frost is a very valuable tool in this matchup.
I mean, it could have been a Luna's Pocket Galaxy, okay?
Speaking of which, Felkeine gets that Luna's Pocket Galaxy. So Zhym has the ramp. Felkeine has the Giga Ramp.
Yeah, this is a tough spot for Zhym here. He finds a puzzle box, which is, you know, it's got a lot in your pocket there, but not the minions that you want to just get the ball rolling like Felkaine's going to be able to do.
Yeah, the 1-mana Twilight Drake comes into hand. It'll be 1 mana everything except for Mountain Giant, which will be discounted to 0. Now Felkeine has the opportunity to try and dig for a specific removal spell. Old Paris Scoundrel hits the side of the board him. And with that, he has offered some pretty decent utility cards. Fireball seems to be very flexible.
Ooh, Arcane Intellect is so powerful once you have the Pocket Galaxy going.
Yes, its card draw is very good once you get to this point. Zhym has the Cartouche Defender.
And I think, yeah, he's gonna go ahead and just try and push his board advantage as much as he can while he briefly has it. Because once the card draw gets going for Felkeine,
it's going bye-bye.
It's gonna be tough for Zhym to find an opportunity.
Yes.
Ooh.
Every out that he can squeeze out will be massive. Felkeine picks up the Arcane Keysmith, which will discover a random secret.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
This is starting to look like lights out for Zhym.
Yeah.
There's a small window. And I mean, that second Ray of Frost is actually fairly impactful here.
Oh, it's really important.
I'm almost thinking that Zhym is going to rely on his Pocket Galaxy to close out the game, or at least extend the game. This double Snip Snap is also very problematic to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, Snip Snap, Ray of Frost, your Alex Strauss, push 5 damage here.
Yes.
Pretty appealing.
I think it's pretty decent.
Zhym's basically playing Zoo.
Yeah, Zoo Warlock
Getcha.
featuring some
Getcha.
tempo tools.
But I mean, this is I think just very good recognition of what you need to do when your opponent does get off the Pocket Galaxy, right? Like, oh dear.
Yes.
Speaking of
Conjur's Calling is massive statistics here. All right, Bulldozer and Onyxia. Not super impactful right now.
You can even get the Keysmith to try and find counterspell for any way that Zhym may have to stop this gigantic board.
Yes, Frost Nova here, super clutch.
It's just the pincher move, you know? You have your opponent locked on the board. Oh, though, that's not enough.
It's not enough.
Reno is, he does 10 damage, but there's so much health on the board.
Zhym's going to trigger the Frost, this counterspell with the Frost Bolt. Flame Strike only removes 2 damage from the board. Reno, the Relicologist, has to make some magic here.
Everything in Onyxia. No, didn't do it.
Oh gosh, nothing died.
Nothing.
Literally nothing, and he's at 21 health. And if Felkeine just hero powers, that's it. He's dead. Zhym's aggressive game plan did not work out for game 2, and Felkeine strikes back with a Luna's Pocket Galaxy victory.
Yeah, and you know, that's the sort of game that we've seen so much throughout the course of the weekend, where one player has Pocket Galaxy, the other does not, just able to leverage that advantage so heavily. That was closer than most we've seen, though. You know, that actually, you know, until that very last turn, really felt like it might have been something that Zhym could still win.
Right.
But the Alex Straza into the Conjur's Calling, into the Frost Nova, into the counterspell, just too much.
That's right. So going into the next game, this best of 5 is going by pretty quickly. This almost feels like an aggressive mirror in a way, or rather one player's just the beat down, one player's a defensive player, kind of like a hunter matchup. And yet, despite that, both players have been kind of exchanging blows back and forth. So with that, we're tied 1 game apiece, and when we come back, we're going to go to game number 3 of the grand finals here in the Hearthstone Masters Tour of Seoul, South Korea. 2 games in the books, and only 2 games required for victory. Who is going to take it between Zhym, who is representing Helios, going up against his opponent from Solari, Felkeine. Both players from France, both players rock at the Highlander Mage. Are the players going to switch decks even? Secondary and tertiary deck could come into play. Although I feel like based off the way things have been panning out, I think Zhym wants the most aggressive game plan, and he wants to keep his freezes, so I think that limits his options. Meanwhile, it seems like Felkeine is just playing the normal defensive slow game plan of Reno Mage.
Yeah, I did hear some rumblings from some of the Grandmaster players in the crowd who were saying that going to your anti-aggro deck is actually a reasonable option in these post game 1 games, simply because the way these play out, you are often actually trying to defend yourself from kind of this aggressive push in order to get to your late game stuff.
Yeah, the only thing is that what are you sacrificing to get to that point? The anti-aggro deck in question is Ancient Mysteries, which is a 2-mana draw secret. It costs 0 card. Flame Ward, the new secret that deals 3 damage to everything. Ice Barrier, Bone Wraith, a Taunt Minion, and Mossy Horror. But you're also giving up Calicos, Mountain Giant, Puzzle Box of Yonix-Aran, Archmage Antonitis. And I understand that you do want to be anti-aggro, but at what cost? I feel like if they could go back retroactively and change their deck, they would.
I mean, I wouldn't bring this up if it weren't something that I heard, right? That I overheard, because this is not something that I look at and I'm like, these are clearly the cards you want instead of these cards for this matchup. But there was some speculation that actually does somehow possibly positively influence your win rate in the matchup, which is surprising to me. And both these players have stuck with their primary deck for at least game 2.
Yeah.
So, perhaps they sort of agree with the idea. You know what? I want to have Arcane Intellect and Archmage Antonitis in my deck because those are powerful cards.
Yes, especially if you pair it together with Luna's Pocket Galaxy, which is ultimately a primary win condition for this deck. It's not just some afterthought. It's something that is actively mulliganed for, something that they search and try to include into the game plan and create a backup option if it doesn't work out. But only 2 games in, and Pocket Galaxy has been played 1 time, while Zhym has been taking the aggressive line. Can he figure out another opportunity, or is he just going to stay on this aggro decision tree?
I think we will see, depending on how the draws pan out, right? I think that one of the things that makes this matchup so interesting is that the way that you approach it is so fundamentally different depending on what the early game looks like for each player. If both players have it's kind of slow, controlling draws, looks a lot different than one player playing, Zephyrus and Animal Companion on turn 1 and 2.
Yeah, is it me, or is it heating up in
Whoa.
here? Wow, yeah, that's right. Skip the formalities. Let's get to the interesting part.
All right,
Does either player have Pocket Galaxy on 5?
Well, there we go. It almost seems like it's Pocket Galaxy in turn 2, because this is the first game I've seen.
All right, well, it seems like we're going to continue this series here lightning fast. That Pocket Galaxy from Felkeine and a mirror entity, so potentially slowing things down. Felkeine going to play that Zephyrus, and he can defuse the secret, but it's actually going to summon before he gets a chance to do that.
Ooh, picking up Earth Shock to take down the Twilight Drake. Alex draws it to the face. Earth Shock to that Drake. We got a gigantic board of stuff. Not much going on. Looks like they have some admins coming out to chat with the players right now, though. Now,
right.
Hey, here we are.
That's right. You thought it was the 3 Korean casters, but it was us. Apparently, that was a test game back and forth.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm not exactly sure, but we were told that there was a re-game for that scenario. So we just showed you a snippet of what could have happened. It was a Hearthstone fever dream.
This is a what if. This is a what if episode. What if one player had Pocket Galaxy
the perfect
into Alexstrasza, into Zephyrus, into...
Yeah, and it turns out you lose when your opponent has that. So yes, that wasn't a real game. But going into game number 3, it will be important for those things to be abated by, because I feel like Felkeine, is it just circumstance that he's playing very defensive, you think? Or do you think that that's just general approach to the matchup?
I mean, I think that in part it's a reaction to the specific of the game states we've seen, right? Because particularly in game number 1, we saw the Zephyrus into Animal Companion, and that's the sort of thing that puts you in a defensive back foot position. Game number 2, well, he was the one with Pocket Galaxy, so he didn't really have to play defensive at all because he just got to play out all his stuff.
Yeah. So now that we have a second to actually step back and look, do you think there were any surprises or things that shocked you when you saw all the action from Swiss going into top 8?
I do think that the sort of most surprising thing to me was just how successful the Priest decks were. I feel like there were a number of players who sort of anticipated that Priest could have been well positioned in the format, simply because of how powerful it is against Mage. But the degree to which it was successful, I think, was a bit surprising.
That's right. Priest topped out our Swiss at nearly a 60% win rate with the second highest class. If you want to guess, Kibler, before I reveal it.
It's actually Shaman.
It is Shaman. Well done.
I looked at this stuff earlier. I was actually going through it and looking for interesting stuff. That's one of the things that.
Well, you could have set it up as like you're a god tier guesser. Is it Shaman?
I think Zephyrus for the Shaman pick.
That's right. So even though Highlander Mage did really well, it's because the other archetypes of Mage did very poorly, getting crushed by Priest, but of course by Rogue, Hunter, Shaman, Paladin, and even Warlock. That's right. Warlock had a positive win rate.
All right.
Mage.
Well, it seems like we're in this sort of what if land again. What if that game kept going? Because we're back.
Yeah.
It's
what
going.
if we were just joking and it turns out that we actually were playing. We're not exactly sure, so we'll just follow along with you guys.
All right. It seems like things have actually just continued while we were talking here too. It's now turn 9.
Okay. We don't know what secret that was played. It was an Arcane Keysmith, no mirror entity. Felkeine testing for the secrets. Counter spell's been activated. But it doesn't look like Zhym has much going on in this game. If anything, Zhym looks dead to me.
Yeah, fireball to the face. With the fireball still in the hand. Full board of stuff.
Behold the tools of creation.
And can Zhym do anything in this spot with Zephyrus the Great? 7 mana is kind of awkward for Zephyrus. Blizzard.
I mean, none of these things matter. They only impact the board and the fireball in the hand. So that was a hard game to really talk about because I don't really know what happened.
Yes. Well, what it seems to look like is Felkeine.
Pocket Galaxy. I saw that part.
Pocket
I
Galaxy.
saw that happen, but that was all I really saw.
And won.
To some extent, that's actually often a reasonable description of a game. He played Pocket Galaxy, then he won. We saw the abridged version of that for that particular game.
Right, and it's sort of deja vu from game number 2. Felkeine had the Pocket Galaxy, and Zhym kind of tried to play an aggressive game plan, but just got out-muscled. And that's kind of what the deck really excels at, right? Like, they can not only play the Pocket Galaxy and get away with it, they have great comeback tools. They have Frost Nova, they have Blizzard, they have Reno Jackson.
Right.
And all of these tools allow them to be a lot more consistent of a Highlander deck than you might expect on average.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, one of the cards that I think has stood out to me the most, unsurprisingly, in terms of providing consistency to these Highlander decks is Zephyrus, because it gives you what you need when you need it.
That's right. You can't always get what you want, but if you have Zephyrus, you get what you need.
I get it.
Yeah, and I think like that also just really helps push that Reno Mage into top tier. You know, you look at some of the ladder results. I saw the APX Void, who is a mage specialist and a great streamer. You should check him out sometime. He just hit number 1 with Reno Mage, and it was almost the exact same deck list as we see right now. So we could be looking at was very closely and largely considered to be the most refined version of the deck currently in the metagame. Of course, the big thing is if Mage becomes very popular, it seems like a very beatable deck because we did mention that it loses to Rogue, loses to Hunter, loses to Priest, loses to Paladin, Shaman, and Warlock. The only classes that has a positive win rate against are Warrior and Druid, but that's because they beat it very hard.
Right. I was actually talking to some players who were competing in this tournament. They were saying that they felt like Mage was actually like a terrible choice for this tournament because of just how vulnerable it was to all these other decks in the environment. But when it gets the right matchups, right? You know, when it actually gets to play, even in this top 8, the way things broke out were just very favorable to the Mages. We saw Mage Mirrors, we saw Mages against Warriors, we saw Mages managing to pick up wins against versions of Rogue that weren't as good against them, and really dodging the Priest, who just ran into Warriors and lost.
It's amusing to me that the third best matchup for Mage, at least just based off of first glance of paper, is itself. And the 50% matchup against Mage. All right, well, going into game number 4, this is tournament point. That previous game counted. That's right, we kept you guessing. It was a secret. We played our King Keysmith, and you guessed wrong. That was game 3 in the books, and we go into game number 4 with Felkeine 1 game away from making history.
Felkeine with a roll of the eyes for the Zephyrs on turn 2 once again, and this time Zhym goes for Animal Companion.
Yeah, I kind of think the Animal Companion line has made a lot of sense here. Ooh, Felkeine with the Zephyrs right back. Apparently Zephyrs
not rolling the eyes at his own Zephyrus.
Right. He has a pre-wish, which is to have Zephyrs in hand by 2, and Zephyrs will offer what seems like to be Animal Companion, Wild Growth, and Backstab. I think that's the 3 options here.
These 2 players have big wish energy.
Big wish summer.
All right, well, it's always Huffer. It's not Huffer. Just kidding.
Sometimes it's Leok.
Sometimes it is not Huffer.
Yeah.
The meme is a lie.
But it's still 4 damage. So it's kind of like Huffer. Coin, Twilight Drake trade. Zhym a little bit in trouble here, although the Vulpera Scoundrel might have something to say about that. Oh, is it a Doomsayer instead?
Zhym decides, all right, you know, I've lost my Animal Companion opportunity here. It's no longer going to be worth protecting. This is a too potent Drake that I'm facing.
Yep. Does make sense. Felkeine does have the opportunity to drop this Arcane Keysmith. Kind of curious that he didn't go for the Wild Growth instead, but it looks like he's trying to get the counterspell to stop the Pocket Galaxy. The selection was so quick. Did he get the counterspell?
I think it might have been Mirror that he took, and that's going to mirror this. It's particularly given the reaction of sort of going back in his chair. Yeah, that was the Mirror entity.
And then Zhym went for the counterspell. He didn't get the counterspell. Felkeine doesn't have the Pocket Galaxy. Very interesting early game here, and they both. Okay, apparently Flame Ward and Splitting Image just appears in every single Discover option. I'm not sure what's happening here. Something's in the water in Seoul.
These decks are splitting images of one another, so it makes some sense.
Nice.
Ramping up here. Ooh, AI picked up for Zhym.
So Zhym's playing very, very fast.
Yeah.
And this is the tournament point for the entire event.
Right.
Where it's not just money, it's not just glory, it's also a potential spot in Grandmasters. Are we going to at least think about playing Snip Snap here on turn 6? Because the idea is that I know he wants the Arcane Intellect for other stuff, but he was favoring tempo so much. What shifted the game plan so dramatically?
I mean, I do think that maybe getting to the stage of the game where the AoE starts to get online, right? We're now at the point where there's Blizzard, there's Flame Strike, there's Reno, all possibilities. So I think that he might be trying to build to his bigger threats and his bigger answers once he gets to this point.
I mean, Felkeine's responding with tempo of his own, but he didn't have the option of necessarily drawing nearly as much of the Arcane Intellect. And if the Arcane Intellect does end up hitting Luna's Pocket Galaxy, the payoff was massive for Zhym. So I can totally get that part.
Zhym does double Snip Snap here.
Yeah, it's not Snip, it's Snip Snap.
Right, there's more than one.
Yes, plural.
Ooh, Siamat is a powerful fellow.
Sees the Flame Ward. I think Felkeine tested for almost everything else.
You actually can use the Siamat with Divine Shield plus Rush here, and then possibly even just use this Shooting Star to clear off most of this board.
Yes, I like that. Zhym has the power of creation. Oh, but Reno Vel'Kosh is also a clear. I like that too, yes.
Yeah. Max tempo. Reno comes down, clears up the board, retains his own board, crucially.
Look at the pace. It's so fast.
Yeah.
Zhym not even taking, like, you know, a half of his turn timers.
Ooh.
Reno
right back at ya.
And I mean, that's a little bit of justice for game number 1. And he gets the card draw, too.
Yep.
Brutal.
Pretty big swing.
I mean, maybe that's something to think about for Zhym as he rolls into turn 9. Does have the puzzle box, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little bit awkward, too, because that Luna staying up is really scary. You really don't want to let Luna stick around for too long, and not being able to remove the Reno does mean that there's the threat of Conjurer's Calling coming out and making a relatively big board.
You can remove it if you Flame Strike and double Ray of Frost.
Sure.
That is fairly expensive, though. And
well,
again, you're ceding tempo back to your opponent.
Yeah, and using your Ray of Frosts when you've been pushing this damage to face is a little bit awkward when you lose a lot of your ability to take advantage of Antonidas later on.
The one caveat is that you do have the resource advantage in terms of just card-for-card value. So, Felkeine, if he doesn't have anything really powerful to develop, Zhym might be able to strike back.
Yeah, Zhym also just has Calicos in hand, right? He has the ability to dig for more stuff. He does want the maximum clear and gets an Alexstrasza to the face for his trouble.
Okay. I mean, Zhym does have the Voodoo Doll to answer right back. That Twilight Drake's a pretty reasonable draw here.
Okay, he's going to go for maximum tempo here. Conjurer's Calling.
Oh, the fearsome Magma Rager.
He's always wanted to be here in the finals. He's been mocked so many times.
When is Zephyr's going to offer me Magma Rager? That's what I want to know.
The perfect card.
Perfect card doesn't exist.
Ooh,
all right.
Antonidas.
So we do have ways to deal with Antonidas, but they're not pretty. They're not pretty at all. One of them includes Conjurer's Calling the Antonidas.
Right.
Another is Puzzle Box of Yogg-Saron, and the last Hail Mary option is Caligos.
Are you saying Puzzle Box is not pretty?
Oh, it gets ugly. Puzzle Box is simultaneously the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Puzzle Box is a thing of beauty. You take that back.
It's in the eyes of the box holder.
Calicos. So Calicos can find a way to deal with this right away. Does not. So this has got to be Calicos into Puzzle Box. He's got to pull the trigger.
You sure about that? This is the tournament. He might have the Conjurer's Calling here.
Is he gonna? He's gonna Conjurer's Calling the Antonidas? He's at 15. He gives his opponent 2 more giant minions.
Oh, my goodness.
Let's go.
He's running out of time. He needs to react. The crowd is losing it.
I mean, this could just be it. This Puzzle Box could decide the finals here. Avenging Wrath.
Felkeine's eyes are exploding out of his sockets, but it's not killing the Antonidas. Where's his zap go?
Look at Felkeine's face. Look at his eyes. Earth shock.
Oh, the one non-frozen minion. Stop buffing. Okay. One more spell.
Antonidas lives, and Felkeine has it. He's got the burn. He's got the trophy. He is the Masters Tour Seoul champion.
We have a winner for the weekend, and the sole possessor of first place after 3 days of competition, dozen rounds of Swiss, and a gauntlet of a dual tournament. Felkeine from France is your Hearthstone Masters Seoul Tour champion.
And what a way to end it. The Desperation Puzzle Box does not do anything to the Antonidas on the other side of the board. Zhym with the sportsmanship gives his compatriot, his countryman, a hug. And just look at that reaction from the Felkeine.
Many of his peers preemptively has crowned him the champion when they saw the top 8 cut off of Swiss. They said Felkeine is the player. You look at the videos on social media, you look at the tweets, all of them have said Felkeine is a player that's deserved this. He's been grinding for years, making it to multiple playoffs, going to Vegas and placing decently in the field, competing in the competitive French circuit for years. Representing Team Solari has finally gotten the big win, $88,000 and a virtual guarantee spot in the 2020 Grandmaster system.
아시아 최초로 서울에서 펼쳐진 하스스톤 마스터즈 서울 결국 최종 우승을 하게 됐는데 제가 얼굴만 봐도 감동이 가득 차 있는 것 같거든요. 지금 심정이 어떤지 솔직하게 말씀 좀 해주시길 부탁드리겠습니다.
First one in Asia, Masters Tour in Seoul. You are the champion. You are the champion. What are your feelings right now going through your head? You can see your face. Tell me your thoughts.
I mean, I don't realize it, like it's so crazy. I've never been in a good place before in a huge tournament, so I don't realize really.
이렇게 큰 대회나 이렇게 좋은 곳에 온 것도 처음인데 이렇게 우승한 것도 진짜 말도 안 되고 지금 무슨 말을 해야 될지 모른다고 합니다.
그렇습니다. 얼마나 좋은지 얼굴에 좀 느껴지는데요. 다시 한번 또 질문해 볼게요. 새로운 확장팩으로 또 대회가 진행이 되면서 어떤 점을 가장 중점적으로 준비를 해왔기 때문에 우승까지 했는지 그 비결이 궁금합니다.
So we have a new expansion with Oldham. Which part of the game did you actually focus the most? What kind of strategy did you focus the most for the tournament?
I focused on drawing Luna's Pocket Galaxy.
우주의 가장
자, 우주는 가시다 최고다. 다시 한번 저희가 배우게 됐습니다. 자, 그럼 이제 1억 원 상당의 아주 굉장한 상금을 가져가게 되는데 이 상금으로 무엇을 하고 싶을지 궁금하다고요.
That's a lot of money. A big prize pool in your paycheck. What are you going to do with all that money?
I have no idea really, like I don't know.
아직은 잘 모르겠습니다.
알겠습니다. 지금 마지막으로 다음 이제 유럽에서 펼쳐지는 하스스톤 마스터즈 투어에도 있는데요. 앞으로의 대회에서 다시 한번 또 어떤 성적까지 낼 수 있을지 자, 앞으로의 각오 한번 부탁드리고 인터뷰 종료하도록 하겠습니다.
There will be more Masters Tour happening in Bucharest and even more next year. So what are your thoughts going into the next ones and your future plans? Have any last words or shout outs, everyone to the fans.
The first question and then the shout out? I didn't. Do whatever you want. Okay. Shout outs to my team, Solari. They are awesome. These demons, Zhym, obviously, Pilou, who I practice with, and also Gallon and Maverick, because I asked them a lot, and they were so supportive, like them going, okay, let's do it, you're gonna win the whole thing. I was like, meh. But I finally did it, so a huge thanks to them.
일단 같이 온 선수들 그리고 프랑스 선수들도 그렇고 스폰서도 그렇고 모두 굉장히 도움을 많이 줬고 제가 이렇게 여기까지 올 수 있는데 응원이 많았기 때문에 여기까지 온 것 같고 일단 감사하다는 말씀 가장 먼저 전하고 싶다고 합니다.
네, 자 다시 한번 최종 우승 자리에 차지한 펠케인 선수에게 뜨거운 박수 부탁드립니다. 중앙에서. 자, 그럼 이제 저희가 또 시상식을 한번 진행을 해봐야 될 것 같은데요. 자, 잠시 후에 저희가 다시 시상식으로 돌아오도록 하겠습니다.
Where the fans in the French community are fervent and super passionate about Hearthstone. And what an awesome weekend has been. Brian Kibler, any final thoughts to wrap this up here?
I just thought the look on his face said it all. You know, it just clearly means so much to him, and it's wonderful to have a champion who really feels the emotion of that victory.
That's right. And there was a lot of back and forth. We did see a lot of good decision-making from Felkeine, and I gotta say, he played, I think, the best out of everybody in this top 8, and a very deserved champion.
Yeah, you know, it'll be great to see how Felkeine and the rest of the French community continues this run through the Masters Tour, and you know, Felkeine got a good chance of making it to Grandmasters next year as well.
That's right, and it's not the end of the Masters Tour for the year. We have one final stop to wrap up 2019 in Bucharest in just a couple of months in October. So if you see this event, you want to be part of it, you want to join us in the Hearth, make sure to sign up for the qualifiers. Go to playhearthstone.com/esports, sign up for that, and find out all the details of Grandmasters that's also happening this weekend. It'll be myself, TJ, Nathan, that's Admirable Zamora, Simon Soto-Welch, Derek Brown, and Raven bring you guys Americas, Europe, and Asia Pacific, respectively. But that's it from us in Seoul, South Korea. Thanks to everybody who's tuned in. If you missed any part of the broadcast, make sure to check out all the stuff of Hearthstone Esports on YouTube. For Frodan, Brian Kibler, Gia, and Derek Brown, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time for more Hearthstone action.
여기까지 모든 경기가 종료가 되었습니다. 자, 그럼 오늘 이 자리를 위해서 특별한 분이 오셨는데요. 자, 오늘 우승을 축하하며 이번 하스스톤 마스터 투어 서울을 위해 특별히 한국에 방문해 주신 JRN 블랙 블리자드 사장님이 특별히 하스스톤 팬분들을 위해서 인사말을 전하신다고 합니다. 자, 여러분 블리자드의 JRN 블랙 사장님을 큰 박수로 환영해 주세요. 네, 오늘 이 현장에 오셔서 여러분들 허기진 배를 도넛으로 맛있는 도넛으로 좀 채워주시기도 하시고 여러 가지로 이 한국 대한민국 e스포츠 팬들을 위한 그런 사랑, 관심 정말 많은 것들을 보여주셨는데요. 자, 인사 말씀 한번 들어보도록 하겠습니다.
안녕하세요 to the Korea fans. Bonjour to our competitors. And hello. It's great to be here alongside Korea's most talented and passionate Hearthstone players. I'm a huge fan of the game, so this was a lot of fun for me to enjoy. Hearthstone is a game that no one expected to stand out as a global major esport. So to see the high level of competition, the level of commitment exhibited by today's competitors to achieve the highest level of plays, it's totally awesome.
네, 자 이렇게 저희가 얘기를 들어봤는데 저희 다들 이해하셨죠? 네, 알겠습니다. 자, 이렇게 멋진 말씀 전해주신 JRN 블랙 사장님께 저희가 이제 통역을 한번 그래도 하고 가는 시간을 가져보는 것이 맞을 것 같아요. 네, 자 하고 있는 것으로 다시 한번 얘기가 나오고 있습니다.
네. 안녕하세요, 하스스톤 팬 여러분. 한국에서 가장 재능 있는 선수들 그리고 열정 넘치는 팬들과 함께해서 매우 기쁩니다. 저도 여러분과 마찬가지로 하스스톤 열성 팬이라서 그런지 마스터즈 투어 서울을 보며 저도 무척이나 즐거웠습니다. 사실 그 누구도 하스스톤이 국제대회가 있는 e스포츠로서 우뚝 서리라 쉽게 예상하지 못했는데요. 그래서 그런지 오늘 경기에서 엿볼 수 있었던 선수들의 엄청난 노력과 수줍그 경기가 더 어썸하게 느껴졌습니다.
This was our inaugural year for the Hearthstone's Masters Tour, with events at 3 cities around the world, and bringing this event to the birthplace of esports was an obvious choice, and Blizzard Entertainment is all honored to be here.
올해는 하스스톤 마스터즈 투어의 첫 해입니다. 이번 마스터즈 투어는 3개의 지역에서 3개 일정으로 개최됐습니다. 일정 중 하나를 e스포츠의 발상지인 한국에서 개최하는 것은 자명한 선택이었습니다. e스포츠의 주요 국가인 한국에서 하스스톤 마스터즈 투어를 개최하게 되어 영광입니다.
Today was a huge day overall for Blizzard Esports. In addition to the Hearthstone's Masters Tour Seoul, I had the privilege of kicking off GSL versus the world and seeing some of the best StarCraft players in the world today. Blizzard has always been passionate about esports, and so seeing the skilled players on the planet battling in our games and seeing fans like all of you join into the fun, there's nothing like it in the world.
오늘은 블리자드 e스포츠에 있어 큰 의미가 있는 날이었습니다. 저는 하스스톤 마스터즈 투어뿐만 아니라 GSL 대 월드도 참석하고 최고의 스타크래프트 선수들의 경기를 관람하는 영예를 얻었습니다. 블리자드는 언제나 e스포츠에 뜨거운 열정을 가지고 있습니다. 수준급 실력의 선수들이 블리자드 게임에서 경쟁을 하는 모습, 팬 여러분들이 블리자드 게임을 즐기는 모습을 보는 것만큼 환상적인 것은 이 세상에 없습니다.
Speaking of skill, we saw some great matches this evening. I want to give a huge shout out to all of our competitors who did their absolute best today, and a huge shout out to Felkeine, the Hearthstone Master Tour Seoul champion.
실력 얘기가 나왔으니 이번 마스터즈 투어로 잠깐 얘기를 되돌아가자면 오늘 진행된 경기들이 정말 놀라웠습니다. 최선을 다한 모든 선수들에게 감사의 말씀을 전하고 또 물론 하스스톤 마스터즈 투어 서울 우승자인 펠킨 선수 축하드립니다.
Thank you.
자, 네, 멋진 말씀 전해주신 JRN 블랙 사장님께 다시 한번 큰 박수 부탁드립니다. 네, 자 이어서 하스스톤 마스터즈 투어 서울 시상식을 바로 저희가 진행을 해볼 텐데요. 자 시상에는 자 방금 전 좋은 말씀 전해주신 JRN 블랙 블리자드 사장님께서 다시 한번 수고를 해주시겠습니다. 자 라스베가스에 이어 아시아 최초로 치러진 하스스톤 마스터즈 투어 서울 아시아에서 처음으로 우승컵을 들어올린 그 영광의 주인공을 모셔봐야겠죠. 펠케인 선수입니다. 축하드립니다. 네 최고의 플레이를 보여줬습니다. 단순히 운을 넘어서 실수 없는 플레이 상대방의 실수를 유발하면서 결국 우승컵까지 거머쥐었습니다. 우승을 거머쥔 펠케인 선수에게는 약 88,000달러의 상금이 주어집니다. 펠케인 선수 진심으로 축하드리고요. 자 다시 한번 여러분들의 큰 박수 부탁드립니다. 자 포토타임도 한번 가져봐야겠죠. 우승자의 특권입니다. 자 이렇게 우승을 하면 축하를 받고 고국으로 돌아가는 그 길이 그 어느 때보다 발걸음이 가벼울 것 같습니다. 얼마나 행복할까요? 최종 챔피언이 돼서 그 수많은 라이벌들 가운데 금방이라 눈물을 흘릴 것 같은 자 그런 모습인데요. 자 그 정도의 감동스러운 얼굴 표정을 보니까 저희 역시도 아마 같은 기분을 비슷한 기분을 느끼게 되는 것 같습니다. 자 멋진 우승 세레머니와 함께 앞으로 본인의 역사에 길이 남을 저 멋진 트로피 프로게이머들의 가장 중요한 것처럼 우승 트로피 하나 있는 거거든요. 자 이 멋진 우승 트로피를 함께 가지고 앞으로도 개인 방송과 또 앞으로 프로게이머 생활에서도 아주 멋진 모습이 나올 거라고 생각합니다. 자 이렇게 멋진 우승 다시 한번 진심으로 축하를 드리고요. 자 시상해주신 JRN 블랙 사장님께도 다시 한번 감사의 말씀 부탁드리겠습니다. 큰 박수 부탁드립니다. 네, 자 이렇게 해서 정말 오랜만에 대한민국 서울에서 펼쳐진 하스스톤 대회 하스스톤 마스터 투어 서울 새 역사의 주인공을 여러분들과 함께 찾아왔습니다. 자 3일 동안에 무려 하루 10시간가량의 대장정의 경기가 있었는데요. 여러분도 아주 오랜만에 이 상암에 오시니까 좀 옛날 생각도 나고 좀 그러셨죠? 네, 게다가 또 여러분들에게 이렇게 또 돈을 또 나눠주리는 이런 모습을 보면서 저 역시도 여러 가지 아주 뜻깊은 그런 하스스톤의 행사가 아니었나라는 그런 생각이 듭니다. 조금 아쉬운 점이 있었지만 그런 부분에서는 다시 한번 양해의 말씀 전해드리고요. 더더욱 발전하는 그런 모습 보여드릴 것을 약속해드리겠습니다. 여기서 끝이 아닙니다. 하스스톤 마스터즈 투어는요 계속해서 이어질 겁니다. 다음 세 번째 지역은 유럽 루마니아 지역이고요. 계속해서 여러분들의 많은 관심과 사랑 부탁드리고 3일간 서울에서 함께해 주신 모든 분들 진심으로 감사드리면서 저희는 여기에서 인사드리도록 하겠습니다. 여러분 모두 안녕히 계세요. 고맙습니다.